Let's build a RAG using AWS Knowledgebase and then connect it to Claude Code using the AWS MCP. Now, you may be asking why build a RAG on AWS Knowledgebase for this video. Well, there are a few reasons. So the first one is that AWS Bedrock takes away a lot of the complexity with building AI things. And for a lot of you, this might be the use case where you need to keep your security, you need to keep your data private, or you may be living in the AWS ecosystem. The second reason is that, well, I have a bunch of credits on AWS that I need to spend, and that makes sense. And the last reason is that we might be selling AWS services, but ignore that for now. So anyways, what we're going to do today, what I'm going to do in this video is basically build a knowledge base. For this, I chose to use a runbook. So basically a list of runbooks that we have for an internal app that we have. These will have instructions on how to handle certain issues, certain scenarios with the SaaS app. And then I want to actually use that. In a previous video that I showed you how to create the database, the knowledge base, but now I want to show you how to actually use it. So we'll do that. So I have a bunch of runbooks on S3. I will show that in a second. And then we'll build the knowledge base, this time with the S3 vector database that they have. It's a new feature. It's I think it's in public beta or something. We'll use that. It's going to be interesting. And then we'll use the AWS MCP server. Again, there's a video for that as well on how to set that up. And I'm going to use Claude Code to actually chat with this thing and troubleshoot. So why Claude Code? Well, I'm using either Cursor or Claude Code in most of my projects. And that's where basically that's like my operating system. That is where I spend my day. So I want to make things available there. I'm in a terminal all day, so if I have an issue that I need to investigate, some production issue or fix a bug or something, I'll probably be using the terminal. So that makes sense to actually connect the MCP, to connect the knowledge base to where I actually work. Now, for different purposes, the MCP server might be used by a chatbot. Maybe you have a different app or somewhere where you actually spend your time, and it will make more sense to connect it there. So let's start with the actual knowledge base that we want to add. The first thing I'm going to go over is the actual runbook structure, what I did. And S3 is where I keep the runbooks for now. You might be doing that somewhere else, but for this purpose, I created a bunch of runbooks for each scenario, for data, for deployment, all sorts of things that we can experience with our app. And actually, I did generate these using Cursor before, but this is for the demo purposes. But for you, this could be a very long list of your corporates, your company's runbooks that will be for different things or things you may not be actually familiar with. So this will be our data source. So for example, we have performance files, and you will see that I created two files. For example, we have the first one, slow detection. If we open it, you will see that we have basically the general instructions for that runbook. Okay, so we have that. You will also see that we have a JSON file, a metadata file for this that matches the runbook. So this one is out of the recommendation that when setting up the actual knowledge base, you will see that it recommends creating a metadata file. So let's see what's inside. And you can see that this is a bunch of metadata that will help it actually search and be more efficient in parsing this and in using it. Now, note that with the vector database, there's a limit to how many parameters you can use. So that's why the list is short, but you can see that we have tags, severity, all sorts of metadata for this file. Now let's create the knowledge base. I'm going to create one with vector store. I'll just use the auto-generated name. From previous examples, I already have a service. I have an existing role, and the data source, like I showed you, was the S3 bucket. And in this particular use case, there's one thing we need to know. To use it in the MCP server later, it will require a tag. So let me add this tag now. I'm creating this custom tag, and let's set the value to true. I don't think it matters. And then let's hit next. Now, we need the S3 bucket, right? So let me add that. Okay, we have the actual S3 bucket. I'm going to leave everything on as default. Select an embedding model. And the vector store will create a new one. And when choosing, I want to use the preview one for Amazon S3 vectors. So this is a neat feature. I don't have to set up a OpenSearch or something else. Good. So we have the tags. We have everything set up, and I'll create the knowledge base. This should take up a couple of minutes or so. Now that it's ready, it's time to actually sync the data source. Again, this should take a couple of more seconds. Let's verify that. Yes, we have the source files, metadata files. These were all added. This is perfect. Now what we can do is go ahead and go back. And we can test the knowledge base just to see that it works. We'll select the model. Let's just select the Nova Pro one and ask it, can you list the runbooks that we have for stacks by? Let's see if we can actually view that based on the retrieval. Runbooks are available. So it only got a few. I don't know why, but this is good enough for us to actually go ahead and see how it works with Claude Code. So let's do that now. Let's head up to the terminal. The first thing that we want to do is actually add the MCP server to Claude Code. The way to do that is either by using a JSON file, the MCP JSON file, or by using the command line. I'll show you how to do the command line, and then we'll jump to the JSON file just to see how that looks. So let's add it. And it added it. We can see that we have a new file here. I refreshed it, and now we have the MCP JSON file that we can see. And basically, these are just the same. Well, let's make it okay. Same parameters that we have. You can just add the .mcp file, .json. That should be fine, but this is great for now. So the next thing I want to do is actually want to verify that the MCP is running. So let's do a Claude MCP list just to see if it's working. Seems to can be connected and working. So let's use Claude using the knowledge base. What should I do in case PM2 fails? Let's see what happens. Let's see if it knows how to connect to the actual tool. So the tool returns a mapping to a knowledge base ID. Yeah, it seems to pick up on the MCP. Let's do, I don't know, let's do that. Picked up on the knowledge base that we have. And I can just auto approve, don't ask again to do the query knowledge bases command. So let's do that. And it seems to be working. Okay, so we have that, we have the knowledge base. And now this seems like a simple example because this is a small project and I have just a few things here. But for other projects, maybe people don't have access to the actual code base. Maybe it's a different project. We are a big team and I need to know how to do things because I'm on call. So that can be very, very, very helpful. Okay, so I can say memory issue. I can try that. I can ask it to actually view the disk space. I have all the information here. And when it's close to the code, when it's close to my terminal, this actually is a very nice thing to have. This wraps up the demo. And if you have a question, if you have another topic in mind that you want me to cover, just leave a comment below. And if you found this useful, please click the like button. I'm trying to grow this channel, trying to make it something that will be found by other people as well, and that will really help. And see you in the next video.